First, I created basic diagrams to break down the basic mechanics of the game and a menu navigation flowchart. I started by adding in the player and a platform. When the game starts, I apply an upwards force to the player. Then I set an upwards force to be applied when the player collides with the platform. Then I started working on the horizontal movement by applying forces to push the player left or right. But I wanted the movement to be responsive and for the player to be able to instantly change directions or stop in midair. I did this by directly modifying the player's velocity instead of applying forces. Next, I needed to allow the players to pass through the bottom of the platform, and only allow the platform to add a force to the player if the collision occurs when the player is moving down. Then I started working on moving the platforms down once the player jumps on them. This ended up causing a lot of problems, so I decided to switch to moving the camera up with the player instead of moving the platforms down. I moved on to spawning in platforms. First, I set 10 platforms to be spawned in at the start of the game with a random distance on the y-axis between them. Then I added a random offset to the x-axis. To make platforms spawn as you go, I set new platforms to spawn when the player gets above a certain point on the screen. Then, once the camera goes past a platform, I deleted them. Then I added the start screen, the end screen, and added a score. Now that the MVP was complete, I moved on to adding more features. I added in a moving platform, a power-up that boosts you up, made custom sprites in GIMP. This is the final result. It looks a bit cursed, but it gets the job done. If you want to see how I recreated Flappy Bird as my first game dev project, watch this video next.